All right.
Yeah, hello everybody. It's been a little while, and a lot of things have changed in the a month and a half we've been gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you all already know what's happening around the world, but we're gonna talk a little bit about that later on. But yeah, sorry for the delays. We've both been busy with different things. I've had a lot of work to do for classes, and when I wasn't doing classwork, I'd rather just do anything else than I don't know, anything strenuous. I'd rather just play some games.
Oh, yeah.
And Yjang somehow works 2 jobs and does classes full time because he's insane.
I'm a mad lad,
But,
you know. I'm taking 12 credits this summer too.
Jesus.
Well,
I might be taking 3 credit hours or no credit hours, depending.
Oh yeah.
But that's because student loans don't work for summer terms, unfortunately. So I have to pay out of pocket.
Jeez.
And seeing how much tuition costs is like,
no.
Holy shit! 2 classes is $1,200.
To be honest, like the only reason I take so much is because just because of the bright futures. I kind of just feel like I kind of have to just speed run it. If I don't, then I'm actually losing money and time. So
when are you gonna graduate?
I'll actually be done by next summer with my undergrad. Yeah, that'll be nice. Which then I'll be able to. Here's the thing. For the listeners, I'm kind of experimenting with the idea of maybe going for grad school. I didn't think I would ever consider this option. Honestly, I was mostly anti high education.
I'm fine with my bachelor's myself. Like I've already spent enough goddamn time in school. I don't want to do anymore.
Honestly, it's like I'm. At one hand, I'm like, bro, I'm tired. Like, I don't want to do anymore. But
it just sucks. Like literally yesterday, I guess we'll start talking about classes and stuff.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I was working on my organizational behavior class. Now, this dude doesn't even know how to use Canvas.
Wow.
And it took him 30 minutes to figure out how to enter his own Zoom meeting. So, yeah. He canceled the final 3 exams he was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
He counted our second exam twice, which God help anyone who flunked that exam. Thankfully, I got like an 85, so it's not bad for me. But for the final exam, he's counting this 15-page research paper we're supposed to do as a group. And I grouped up with 2 guys who were near me, and he's like, just make it on anything that we covered in the class. We thought, okay, what's kind of easy? We chose Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is it's not difficult. And we split it up into sections. Like, I'll do the intro, biography of Maslow, and a summary of an overview of it.
Mm-hmm.
Another guy is doing the philosophy and ethics of it, and the final guy is just going into depth about each section. I spent 2 hours on it, but I guess I've written so many research papers and essays. Yeah, I wasn't even awake when I wrote it. I was just typing out everything, inserting citations, doing all the formatting, and I'm done. I'm like, oh my god, I wasn't even paying attention while I wrote that. And then I sent it to my group mate. He's like, I think I'm gonna redo mine to live my part to look more like yours. And I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah.
I hope we do well, and I think we will. But
I mean, the fact that someone redo their part so they can fit yours sounds like you did a really good job without trying.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of writing, all of my classes don't have Zoom meetings except my professional communications class.
Uh-huh.
And the professor, I actually hate going to the class because it's at 9 a.m. and she takes 2 hours to finish, even though her class is an hour 15.
What?
Because she won't stop talking.
Oh.
And attendance is mandatory.
Wait, I have a question. Does she take it at the end or beginning of class?
And
that's evil. That's evil.
Yes, it is. And it especially sucks because class ends at 10:45. But she'll go to 11:30, and whoever's there at 11:30 gets counted.
That's evil.
And if you don't show up, you lose 2 whole points on your grade. You go from a 94 to a 92. Hate the class. Anyhow, every time I talk, she's like, Jeffrey, you're such a brilliant writer. You're so good at it. And I'm just like, why is she complimenting me and no one else? And then like one of my friends in the class, he just asked like a simple question like, hey, so what should we put for the reference page in the paper? She's like, I can't believe you would ask that. It says in the assignment what to do. And like every time he asks a question, she just bags on him. And it's funny, but like me and him would just be messaging in like, you know, text and just be like, why is she so mean to you? Online classes are great and terrible at the same time. It really just depends on the professor, and it's such a wild ride.
Yeah, honestly, it's like if you have a class that's kind of oriented or can be made for online, plus you have a decent professor, it's worth it, you know. But
yeah.
I don't know. That sounds like a terrible professor. Poor guy.
Yeah, but you can tell. Yeah, you can tell a lot of her professors don't know how to do this. Like a lot of them.
I feel bad for everyone I feel bad for you and everyone in that class for being with a professor who doesn't even know how to use Canvas until a pandemic.
And speaking of that class, like, she assigned so much goddamn work. Like, when I signed up for spring classes, I thought, oh, professional communications. It's like a speech class. I need it to get my degree. I already took a speech class like my freshman year of college, so it should be pretty easy. Go in. Oh, yeah, I expect my last paper was 39 page. A 39 to 40 page paper about every week with citations. And, oh, your next project, it's not a paper, but I'm going to need you to make a whole website, make an entire LinkedIn page to these exact specifications. I need 3 written recommendations on your LinkedIn page from non-classmates, from co-workers. And one girl asked, I've never worked a job before. What would I do? And she's like, well, just find somebody to write you go get a friend, you know, who works a job to write you a thing. Even though she really said it has to be somebody from work. I don't know. And it's, I hate it. It's honestly more work than like finance or accounting or anything like that. Because at least for those, I can study for like 6 hours and be good.
Okay.
For this class, it's every single week I have to dedicate like 12 hours minimum to writing some boring ass paper about an engineering firm or something.
Ew, no.
No. Like, can I screen share my?
Sure.
Let me open it. Oh yeah, the viewers won't see it, but you can describe what this is.
All right.
Professional portfolio. It's opening. Screen share. Turn on screen share.
Just like Zoom.
For screen.
Honestly,
1.
I'm becoming like a Zoom master at this point with the screen share.
Okay. Where is it? Also, this all the stuff I used for the portfolio. It's a lot of stuff.
Ooh.
Is it opening?
Let's see.
We'll probably have to cut this down in the later part because it's a lot of just waiting. Open a read-only copy. It's fine.
Wait, stop right here. Hold on a second.
Oh, look at this.
No, the moment I saw table of contents scared me. It was over 10.
I have to do this every week.
Every week?
Yes. Now, why won't it? Is it? Frozen?
Dude, I think it.
This one here. Yeah, look at this. Okay, let's go. I'm just gonna activate auto scroll.
Okay, so.
Oh, my formatting broke.
I'll tell you this, viewers. Right now, I'm seeing. This is something I would steal from Google as a citation.
No, my formatting broke.
This is so sad.
Oh, I spent so much time on it.
Okay, for the viewers, imagine like those really long reports that you steal for your like citations in your school project or whatever.
Oh, it worked. There we go.
This is so.
I have like an embedded video. I have all these graphs I made.
There's so many bar graphs. There's okay.
And there's an embedded video I found.
You put embedded video in what, a Word? It means a Word document.
Yes, you can. Look on the right here. Look at that graph. I made that myself.
Okay, so we have an MS Paint derived corporate hierarchy chart with all the names and the CSO, the CAO. I didn't even know a CAO existed, and all the jeez.
Yes, chief something officer.
Yeah.
Chief.
I want to say academic.
And yeah. And then I had to interview this guy.
Is this the CEO?
On the left here.
Or
No, this is the CEO.
Wait, hold on a second. Stop right here. You interviewed the guy, but you don't even know his title.
Listen, I wrote this like 3 days ago, and I dumped it out of my memory. It took me 13 hours to make
this. It's okay. I find it funny.
And then I got 5 samples of writing. Now look at this on the right. I'm just gonna read this off, and I don't want to reveal any like critical information, but I'm just gonna read it. This is anticipated to be a critical path item. Schedule includes CSX starting construction in March 2019. Notified that CSX construction of all crossings are upheld to 2.5
viewers, this is the most business
talk.
This
area of soft soil just north of Fay Road. And I have to analyze the goddamn grammar and tone of this.
The most...
And I do it for a page.
How many credits do you get for this?
And I have to do it 5 times. 3 credit hours for this.
What?
Do you see how much I
Dude, this should be at least 4. This should be at least 4.
This assignment is only worth 100 points.
So sad.
And then I had to write a goddamn thank you letter. I had to. It was included.
It's so sad that you actually had to print out the thank you letter into the report.
because I was thinking, why can't I send him an email? And then I have to put in all of my questions I asked him, which I couldn't do in person, which she was upset about because of the virus.
I mean.
And then I have to include the guy's whole.
Dude,
resume.
This should be like at most 3 times you have to do in the semester. At most. I can't believe you did this 5 times.
I've done this like 6 times already.
You did this much. This should be like oh, this is your project for the month. That'll be like every month you do one of these.
Yeah, I've got this due again next Friday, and then the Friday after that.
Wait, Friday? Oh yeah, I forgot.
I've got one due the 24th, and then I've got one due the 30th.
So you get off of class...
And then the class is over,
okay, you get off of class next week.
The 30th, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I get off 1 week earlier than you, luckily.
Turn off screen
that's terrible, man. I feel bad for you.
For you. Turn on camera. Yeah, I would rather take 2 finance classes than have to do this.
Put on the mask and just let it all out.
I mean, in my free time, it's like all I've been playing. So, and if you're wondering, it's Joker's mask from Persona 5. It came with the collector's edition of the game.
Oh, is this P5R?
Yeah, P5R. Yeah,
okay.
It's a good game.
But yeah, that is the most sad and terrible work I have seen. But yeah, I can't
even hear you, but okay. So have you any classes?
I do.
Like terrible.
I do have I don't have any terrible classes. I have one class I'm behind on, and I have one class I did a lot of work in. There's this one class which is called like user-centered design, where like if you wanted to like design an app, this is how you would do it, and it basically teaches you one thing. Actually, there's 2 things it teaches you. Be kind and empathetic to the people you're building things for. Don't be a dick and say it's your way or the highway. And also, people don't do things in any way that you expect it when you build something. Every time I build something, someone just comes around and does the exact opposite way I would think, and it's just so sad. But at the same time, it's like, okay, that means I didn't do it correctly. That's the thing. Like, if they mess up, it's your fault. That's the thing I had to learn. Like, every time they mess up, it's my fault.
That sounds not
it doesn't
good.
I'll say, like, it's interesting because the thing is, everything was a group project, and I decided... Here's the thing. In this class, I decided instead of just being a group member, which would have been much easier, I decided there was this one idea I really like, and I wanted to build it for the longest. So I decided to design it, and I didn't get the people that I actually like immediately wanted, but they were like people who didn't have a group. I'm like, you're coming with me. I'm building this app. You're coming with me. So I brought them along. And the thing is, in the beginning, I told everyone in the class, this is my idea. If you want to join my group, join it. When it comes to like midterm presentation time, I find out that 2 other groups took my idea because they liked it so much. But instead of joining me, they decided, nah, let's just make our own groups instead. So I was like,
I don't know if that's like an insult or like what.
No, like at first I was kind of like, wow, I can't believe it. not even so much that I was first happy, like, wow, people really thought my idea was great. I actually had a good idea. I'm happy for myself. On the other hand, I was just like, how come no one wanted to work with me? So that was kind of like the mixed signal. But after the end of this, I kind of realized two things, like how to be better as a leader in a team. Like, apparently a lot of the times when people are insubordinate or just don't do things you think of, they just have their own problems at home you don't realize. But at the same time, you gotta have to put your foot down. And that was like a tough for me, because I didn't want to be a dick. And I feel like that was one thing I was trying to figure out, like, do I want to be a dick, and do I care? And at this point, I decided I'm just going to be a kind of dick, a little dick. And I laid down the law, and then the person just did a 180. I was a little dick, and I laid down the law. Quote that. Yjang 2020. But and it worked out a bit. Another class I'm doing that I'm behind on is a class I actually used to get a job, my new second job. The first project, we were supposed to build a site in PHP, and I did that as an interview test for the job that I currently have. And now that I have this job, I am basically doing PHP in my school, my other job, and my new job. So I'm like, it's just coding all day, basically.
How do you not get burned out?
I do, but it's not like burnt out where I like lose my mind. It's more of like, I'm so tired, I don't want to do homework. Like, that was the hardest thing. It just becomes so hard for me to, after like 7 hours of work mode, I have to will myself to do homework after. So it becomes like either 8 to 12 hours of me working every day, and then maybe by the end of it I have 8 hours of sleep, so I have at most like 2 to 4, sometimes 6 hours to myself. It was painful. So
that sounds like a lot.
It's but the thing is, though, it's like, it's a new company, or like it's a research body, and the thing is, I'm building a website for an observatory, like a national observatory. Yeah, like, have you ever seen GoldenEye? I'm right now working for the Arecibo Observatory, and it's so, like, maybe I shouldn't say that. Well, anyway,
I've never seen a James Bond movie, so
basically, this observatory is so big that it basically detects asteroids and learns about the cosmos and the planets and star systems far beyond that the U.S. uses in Puerto Rico. And it's a remote position, so I'm happy, because even before the coronavirus, I could have still worked from home and not care. But now it's like 2 jobs. But at the same time, I'm happy, because at this point, I'm not worried about, can I pay for college? That's the thing that I was, for the longest, like, can I pay for it? Now I can. So
just make sure you don't, like, work yourself to death.
I am honestly, you have to be careful, Jeff, because the thing is, I'm really tempted to get this graduate degree, and if I really am, then there's some ideas of people saying, like, you should get an undergraduate research position. But when I'm looking at this point, I'm like, I don't think I could even afford to with the schedule I have right now. I'll have to quit a job in order to do that, and that would.
I don't think you know how to stop piling more stuff onto your shoulders.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, do you want more workload? And you're like, yeah, give it to me. Even when you've already got 2 skyscrapers on your shoulders. Well, like, I've got, 2 like average sized family homes, and I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I don't need more.
I'm like that villager in Animal Crossing who never stops taking a load from Tom Nook. It's like, like, dude, are you okay? You have like a McMansion and you're the mayor. Do you need any more? Nah, man, I need to start getting seashells so I can build a bigger observatory for the library and museum.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, at a certain point, I know I need to get, like, I guess my biggest thing that I will be honest with the listeners and everyone here, I am worried that if I ever stop like really like slow down, I'm gonna lose the edge that I have, which is just being persistent. And I would say that right now I'm not going to try to add more if I can help it, but the reason I'm even considering graduate school is because my current degree program basically allows me to get to the point where most people in the industry are kind of like at basic level or professional level. Like I could come out and say, look, someone could hire me, but I think the reason I wanted to do it is because of two things. I wanted to try VR, try my hand and see what's like in the VR AR space. You know, I'm kind of interested in it because I don't know, I just somehow I feel like if I'm like a developer, this is probably going to be where people are going to spend their a lot of time with. Maybe not in VR, but definitely AR seems like a big thing. Like,
probably.
I can see it for like, I can see it be something essential for homework one day. Mm-hmm.
Possibly. You know, I don't know if I read it somewhere, if it's something I thought up years ago, but like I think I did read it or see it somewhere. But like I think eventually school might be something like, you know, you'll put headsets on kids and they'll be taught through that, you know, and it'll be faster and more efficient than having to hire hundreds of teachers when you can just have pre-made
It
courses.
would, but I think the problem is though is that, but I see what you mean, because then you have everything there. You just give the kid that.
Yeah, it's like instead of having to hire, you know, 1 million history teachers around the, you know, country, you'd have, you know, a few different history courses. Like, oh, here's the history of this area or of this time period. Bad thing about that is there's no, I guess, customization to it. It's like, this is the baseline package.
Well,
you can't change it.
I think CGP Grey made a video like, I think 8 years ago, maybe it's about to be 10. I can't remember. Where it was like an idea of digital Aristotle, where it's like you give through an AI that is custom tailored. Like, you know, we have YouTube to personalize their videos. In this case, you would have a YouTube for learning that customizes what videos or what courses or what homework the person should do next based off their performance. So that way it'll be customized for them. But my biggest issue is social learning, like how people learn to be social beings. That's the thing that worries me if we're going to go that way, but I think there's enough people worried about it to not let it go.
I think that could be remedied by like making social stuff like a class and not even having a teacher or anything like that. Just like put the kids in a large lunchroom for like an hour a day. It's like just extend lunch to be longer so people talk more or something like that. I don't know, because like lunch and such was the time people talked the most, at least, you know.
So make lunch like 2 hours?
So, yeah, make lunch like an hour or two, so you have people
That'd
talking,
be awesome.
you know. Even though, you know, that would have helped me a little bit, but I was always the guy who tried to find like the quietest spot during lunch so I could just eat my food in peace. That might not help everyone, but still. But even then, face-to-face social interaction might not be as big in the future.
Yeah. I don't know. I just kind of, I feel like what I really hope this will allow is more time for, okay, idealist scenario is that we have also classes that teaches people how to be human or how to be, you know, social creatures than just, because we have to leave these kids in a room somewhere. Like the schools is in some way a public daycare service.
Or as my brother calls it, a kind of like high school, not a high school, a prison for high schoolers. You just keep them there all day because they can't
do
go
your time,
else.
And after that you get let out, and it's like, all right, go out.
Yep, you're on parole.
You're on parole. But then some people are so indoctrinated like me that it's like, no, I can't leave. I need a structure. But
sorry. What? Okay. You could have just messaged me then. Sorry, he had to tell me a really bad joke, so don't worry about it. What's it called? I forgot what I was gonna say now. Please don't tell it. Damn it! I forgot what I was gonna say.
We need structure.
Oh yeah, you were talking about structure. I honestly miss going to like face-to-face classes because like I like my family and all, and I like my house, but I've been here for too long, and I miss all my friends at school. And I miss most is like the weekly D&D sessions because it gave me something to look forward to. And it's like, what really sucked is like, you're in town. That would be the perfect time to do it, but I don't want to risk anyone getting sick. So it's like,
goddamn virus. Technically you can. The thing is that you would do is just, you would stay 6 feet away from everyone in an outdoor area.
Yeah, just like scream across, like have it set up in like the middle of the road, just like scream at each other from like
or you can go like outside, but even then, most people want to be like close to each other. So it's like, at this point, I'm just kind of like, unless, I don't know. I'd say the biggest thing for me is that what I've done is like for my most vulnerable people like my aunt, we just try not to get close. We try to either, go when we know one of us is certainly healthy, and even then it's very like minimal, we show up for a little bit and go out. But honestly, I just feel like it's just going to be something we're going to deal with for maybe a few more months. And if we just act responsibly, hang tight, and keep our minds together, we should be fine by fall.
Have you heard how they're saying that there might be a second?
That's the biggest thing I'm worried about. Like, if that's the case, then America's really screwed, man. They're really, really, really screwed. Because that's depression catastrophic.
I mean, some people are saying that that's already going to happen.
If it is, then fine, I guess. I guess the biggest thing I'm trying to figure out is where would I go in a depression scenario? And I think right now, which is also, okay, this is not probably the best reason, but the other kind of reason I'm still thinking about grad school is because, like, in some way you could technically hide out under depression by staying in school and just holding out. So, like, by like 2023, when I graduate, then I'm like, okay, if the job market's not fine now, then I just gotta accept it.
Everyone's fucked. Yeah.
It's like, it's been 3 years, guys. Come on. So.
Well, the last Great Depression ended with a war, so hey, we can just get conscripted.
If that's the case, I would be surprised if I got conscripted. It's like, I have a master's degree, man. Can I at least get into like the nice cushy indoor?
Let me be like, like pencil
yeah, man. I'll take the pencil pusher job right now.
I'd rather be like a goddamn chef or something. It's like, please don't put me in the line of fire. I'll cook
Dude, just
food
break
every
your
day,
leg
please.
now or something, so that way they can't even put you to run. Hey, look at me. I sprained my ankle and I broke my other.
Well, actually, I was born too early, so my lungs weren't fully developed, and they're probably not the full size of a
maybe just need
adult's lungs, because they were grown
wow.
in like a test tube. So I could say, I have smaller lungs than normal people.
No, just say like I can't breathe under extreme pressure. Like I will bring like an asthma inhaler just to like prove it.
Does the army even take people?
I would hope not, unless you're desperate.
And if they're desperate, then things are bad.
Honestly, I don't think we'll get to the point where it's like, oh, we're desperate for bodies, please, just anybody. At that point, it's like, bro, if you got desperate for bodies, why didn't you just end the world right there with the nuke?
Yeah.
But speaking
of war. Oh wait, no, we're both trying to change topic. Actually, I know a way to resolve this.
All right.
Think of number 10, 1 to 10. 5. Wait, that didn't work because we weren't thinking of numbers. Shit. Okay, you go first then.
I just wanted to talk about how the world's doing in America and my opinions on it.
I wanted to talk about the increasing polarization in America and the political climate.
Let's
so
go.
Essentially the same thing. So you lead us.
Yeah. So basically, I gotta say, I'm gonna get called out for this, but I think a lot of the people right now are just whining too much about like I here's the thing. I come from an area of sympathy because I actually agree with the Republicans that are crying out there that their civil liberties being under attack. I mean, there's not. I'm not going to say that they're wrong. They have the right issue, but I feel like it's like how I feel about Trump. He has the right issues in his hand. They're just doing it terribly at their execution. Because it's like, okay, oh no, our civil liberties are challenged, and I'm going to bang myself in, at the walls of government until they let us open up business. But my issue with them is that their motivations are totally, what's the word? Paper thin. Like, I want to get a haircut, or I want to, or the more legitimate ones is I want to be able to work right now because I can't get a job. Now that one makes more sense, and I feel for them. Like, shoot, like I have friends that are like out of a job and struggling right now, and I was in that situation months ago. So make no mistake, it's not like I'm trying to be like, oh, I have a job now, so you should be able to get a job too.
I have two jobs. It's that easy.
I have two. Yeah, it's not easy. No, I'm not trying to say that, but what I am trying to say is, yeah, maybe the government should be allowing like some people to work, but I don't think that the way how they're going about it with protesting and not even like showing some sort of respect. I think it would be different for me. I would have a totally different reaction to probably side with them if I saw less guns and everyone was wearing their mask and gloves. Because then I've been like, you're right. We need jobs. We need people to like get back to work in a safe manner. But right now,
I know people's livelihoods are important, but I think people's lives are more important. I don't know.
That's the thing though. The thing that makes me scared is like when I saw in the first weeks when everyone was so scared and angry about that people are like, no, they should still go to work. Like, I don't care. If people have to die, people have to die. And I'm like, what are you talking about? That's heartless.
I think it was the lieutenant governor of Texas was like, he was saying stuff about how like grandparents would like take the bullet to save the economy. And it was just like, what the fuck? I don't want my like grandparents to die.
I don't know where this quote comes from, but the idea is, maybe it's Aristotle. Aristotle, I think he said, like, never trust a man who doesn't have a stake in his actions. And that's the thing that I was thinking about. Like, that guy has no stake. If he was like, his grandparents are going to get killed, or he was at risk of dying, and he's going to say that, no, I don't trust him. But I just think that people need to just stay inside. But I do think that we should just keep an eye out what's going on, because right now I do not trust not just Trump, but I don't trust the Democrats right now, what they're saying either. I don't trust what Joe's saying. I'm worried about all of them. Because
I've heard that there's a bill going through Congress, and now they'll give every adult in America like $2,000 a month. What do you think about that?
Well, first of all, let me just tell you this. Like, I told you my UBI idea was worth it. I told everyone from day one.
And that's more than
than my $1,000 idea. My Yjang bucks are finally coming in, boy.
With the like trillions pumped into the stock market and such, the government can just make money appear, at random, it seems.
Quote from Wall Street Bets: money printer go brrrr.
Why would you go to that cesspool? That place
is a cesspool, but it's like 4chan, like 4chan traders on Reddit. It's funny. It's so bad that I laugh. But I don't know. It's just I feel like I'm happy in one hand, but at the same time, I'm not happy because it's not going the way that I think it should be distributed. I hope that this 2K bill is more distributed out to people, because the first bill, like how the money's coming out now, is so janky that I can't get one. You can't get a check. If they really wanted to stimulate the economy, they should have just made it like everyone gets the money. No discrimination. Just if you're over 18, here's your cash.
Thankfully, like, they did give extra money. Like, my parents got $500 extra because they had a minor with them, which is my brother, which is good.
Yeah, but still, think about, like, imagine if it was just you right now, or 17. I think it was like, if you're 17, you get screwed over too.
Yeah, because you can be legally independent. Like, if I mean, like, even if I was in my own place, I probably wouldn't file taxes last year because I'd still have been with my parents because I was finishing up at my old college, you know? So I wouldn't even got anything even if I was by myself, and I probably would have been sacked from whatever place I was working, so I'd be screwed.
Honestly, I don't get anything from the government at all. I don't get anything. You know who actually gave me money? UCF actually during this was like, look, we have spare. We're giving this out to people. You won the lottery.
Damn. your university sounds
Dude, like,
nice.
honestly, the
UNF hasn't done shit.
Honestly, after this, I kind of owe UCF at this point. Like, in the past, I was like, I don't think I'd need to become a donor. But after this check came in, I was like, I actually needed that. Thank you. You're on my radar for people I owe when I become, like, better off.
All UNF has done is like, oh, yeah, we usually normally charge, you know, $175 per credit hour. We're only going to charge you $105 per credit hour for the summer terms. It's like, oh, that's so nice.
Like, thank you so much for your infinite generosity.
That saves me so much money. It's like, maybe, like, refund people's, you know, housing and such. Because, like, the guy I was talking about earlier, who was in my class with me, the one who gets bullied by my professor, he got kicked out of the dorms, just like everybody else. They're like, get off of campus. And he hasn't gotten his money back.
Are you serious?
He had to move back in with his parents in, like, I think, like, St. Augustine or, like, somewhere down there, you know, pretty far away from campus. And he's like, I haven't gotten anything.
Please tell me
yet.
At least you guys have, like, pass or fail grading also now, do you?
It came in like a week ago, and they're like, yeah, it's an option. Okay. You can opt into it, but you know, recruiters might not look favorably on you upon it. And I've seen no one I know.
Honestly, this sounds terrible. Like once UF started doing this stuff, UCF followed UF's role, and I was like, okay, cool, bet, I like it. I think it's just. My university's at a weird time too, because during this whole time we're also picking up a new president, and honestly, I miss my old interim president. His name was Thad Seymour. His first name was Thaddeus. I miss him because
damn, that's quite the name.
I actually got to meet him one time, and honestly, like, that guy was cool. Like, I miss him now because he's going to be gone, and he was easy going. Just like, yeah, you're having a problem, go ahead. We'll take care of you. He didn't really do much, but at the same time, it's like, he was just good enough, and his name was good that it was worth it. Now we have this new president who we don't even really know much about. I mean, he has good credentials, but he kind of like, you know, this is like, it's like someone who just puts their last minute favorite person that actually wanted to become the one in line. It's like, oh yeah, we did the whole process of being a democratic, you know, elected. Here's the person that we actually wanted. Okay, ready, set, goodbye.
Yeah.
So that
I don't even know who my president is. I just looked it up, and it's like, I'm gonna send you the picture of this guy and tell me what you think his name is. Just like guess. What is that man's name? No, it's David Sizymanski.
Okay.
It looks like Eastern European. But, like, this is one of the most generic, like, white dudes in a suit I've ever
honestly seen. Yeah, I was giving it like a really, like, boring a boring name. That's why I thought Glenn. But no,
David is somehow more.
Yeah, I don't know why. I think Glenn is just like obtuse. That's why it kind of sounds like. But David's like, oh, okay.
Who would name their kid?
I don't know. Ask all those parents out there. Ask the people who are named David who are listening to this.
Better than naming your kid like Jackson, but with like an X.
You've seen that?
It's better than that.
That's a thing.
Just in memes, but I hope it's not real.
Wow. Okay.
I do know that someone in America is named Twink though. That's real.
Wow.
So.
Oh, I need to share this to the listeners because I thought this was actually pertinent now. If you volunteer, especially now during COVID,
oh yeah,
I found out that you actually get a tax break for volunteering. I didn't even know that until recently. My mom told me about this because she's been volunteering so much, over her years, and I needed to get this out because you get to charge the hours that you work volunteering, plus the time that you drive or to transport to get to or from the place, and you can itemize anything that you do when you are like what kind of equipment or stuff that you need to do. Like if you're working for Habitat for Humanity, or if you were working for like a food bank during this crisis, then you can deduct all the time and money and spent protective equipment just to volunteer. And I didn't even know about this, but the reason I brought this up is because I feel like if people had told me growing up that you can get paid for volunteering, I think a lot more people would have been a bit more excited.
Probably at least
a few more for sure, but I think it would have been a bit more. Maybe for me, because the biggest thing I asked my teachers, like, why do we volunteer? Like, it's not really volunteer if we're getting something out of it. Like,
it's not just a job.
We're getting hours. Like, we needed it. It was like basically a job for us to graduate. So it wasn't like volunteering for volunteering's sake. And I kind of understood this, like, oh wait, volunteering isn't when you like count the items. It's when you just do things you don't even think about that just happens on the way. That's really volunteering. But then you might be asking, well, I don't want that kind of volunteering. I want the volunteering that I can write off of my tax deductions. Well, that's good for you too, because everything you do apparently, whether it's moving, getting to the place to volunteer, buying things to volunteer, or whatever it is, you can get money for volunteering. I think that should just be known. So if you're feeling a bit angsty, like I don't have money to go and volunteer right now, don't worry, you actually get a tax break. You can probably get more if you start helping out people during this time. So keep that in mind.
Just be safe doing it. Don't get reckless during this time of
don't
crisis. I didn't want to say crisis because like every corporate
we have to
is like during these trying times of crisis, and it's just like shut up.
I need to talk about this. So, dude, this is the most.
It's the same goddamn statement every time.
I remember on Reddit there was like a haiku that was made out of, or a poem that was made out of these corporate emails and commercials. I'm getting sick of it, honestly, because it's like, it's so like, I know they're doing this to try to feel like they're comforting. The only one that kind of got to my heart was the State Farm ad where it was like, hey, everyone's having a hard time right now. So instead of just talking about how we're having a hard time, we're going to get through this together. If you're a current State Farm customer, we're giving you back your money for this term. There you go. Yeah, well, I was like, that was actually a good ad. And let me at least understand why. Because the fact that you're telling people who are like not even customers, it shows to the existing customers like, yay, I get free money. Yay, that's awesome. But for the people who don't have State Farm, like when I told my mom and she saw the ad, she was like, dang, if I could right now, I kind of want to switch to State Farm because that's great PR. I was thinking that's brilliant because then I want to. Honestly, for me, if I'm going to be straight up with you, I'm more likely to pick State Farm because of this when I go for insurance. Definitely. Because I know if anything happens this bad, I probably can count on State Farm to give me money because Geico's not doing anything right now.
The fucking Gecko is like hoarding all of his money. Like
he's lighting up his cigar because he doesn't have the fire breath anymore. It's like, save 15%.
And give it to me.
That's for me.
Yeah.
I was like, that's that evil Gecko. I knew it. You should trust him. You should trust the British voice.
Doesn't that Gecko have? He has like a name.
He does.
I think. What is the Gecko's name? It's the guy. How do you spell Geico?
GEICO.
Sorry, I got it.
I think it's an acronym for like government employees. I can't even remember correctly, but
Geico name.
What's the lore?
Come on, give me the name.
What's his name?
It was mascot and gold. That's Geico with Cockney accent, British actor, blah blah blah. Geico is well seen and popular. Don't knock over my drink, Jacob. His name is Martin.
Martin the Geico. Wow.
Fucking Martin.
Martin.
Changing topic. I actually want your opinion on what topic to talk about next. I want to ask one of two questions. Question one: how has the virus and the crisis caused by it affected your political views? Or two, so what have you been doing in your free time for fun in the little free time?
I'll start with the free time one because it's easier to answer. I've been going through my Steam catalog, and also been making more time to watch anime when I remember, and also trying to find weird stuff on YouTube and good music. But basically, stuff that I've been doing before, it's just more intensely. And I'm saying that the anime portion, I try to do a lot more intentionally now. Oh, and reading. I've been doing a lot more reading. I've been reading a book called Neuromancer by William Gibson, because I'm really into cyberpunk right now. And I know it's been something I've been into for a while, but the reason is because this virus just gives me so many ideas for a cyberpunk novel if I had time to write. I can already see it. Just climate change causes a some kind of bug that we eat in the food supply, another pandemic, and now instead of in the future cyberpunk world, it's not about augmented bodies. Now we're using genetic enhancement and augments so you can increase your survivability in the wasteland. It's like Mad Max meets cyberpunk. That's my idea.
Interesting. Or maybe it's the whole world is vast deserts, but there's giant mechanical cities just in the deserts as oases.
Yeah, it's oases. But the thing is, the globalization of the world is broken. It's not as much as it was before, where everyone was hyper connected. My idea is similar to Fallout. There's cities of pockets of humanity that are really tight together. And the reason is because in the past, I think there was a war where there was it wasn't a hot war, but it was a cold war in a sense. And because of that, one of the country, the U.S. becomes bankrupt and ridden, that it has to devolve and send the money over to the corporations who just speculate on the land, and they have their own private cities in a way. So they make.
I just thought of a way that you could actually write this. So we're currently running our, small D&D series with you whenever you come in town, at least when the virus isn't around. But after that's done, how about you DM and you do that as the game?
Ooh, that would be interesting. I can...
Because, being a DM, you have to write stuff down, and it really lets you get ideas. My first D&D game, and the one that we're even running now, even though it is inspired by other stuff, it's in the Vampire the Masquerade universe or whatever, but it's still a lot of my own ideas. But the first game I had, I created this whole world, created its backstory, but then as I was going through, I'm like, how do I implement a dungeon? And I was like, ooh, I got this new idea, and it really makes you work. Well, when you're just writing by yourself, you're like, I'm kind of bored because there's no
incentive. Yeah,
deadline,
I know what you mean.
Yeah, well, it's shit. The game is in 3 hours, and I have to write 2 more pages quick. And sometimes it's not great, but it's still.
It's more practice, I think that's a benefit that you have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would do that. I would DM because it would give me a vested interest to stay engaged and figure out this plot more, because. Yeah. I just been thinking about this. First it was the whole oil rig situation, which I still stand by. I think that would work out for Florida. Instead of everyone migrating, some people stay, but instead everyone's living on these giant stilts. That since they just hey, since Florida's underwater, might as well continue fracking it, and just add solar.
Yeah, kind of something that looks like these. If anyone's wondering what they are, it's the British seaports. Yeah. I don't know if you've ever seen these. But this is what I imagine your ideal.
Yes, it's
something not as rusty as that, but
not as rusty. But if you've seen that in Susei no Gargantia, or it was Mecca, it was Gargantia, I can't remember, where they had these ships that were floating giant cities. But I was thinking this on stilts. Mm-hmm. I'll put in the show notes for listener.
Yeah.
this is what I think would work out for Cyberpunk, because you can still have like the high life kind of thing, but it's so rusted because everything's propped up on these, like on the backs of the bottom, you know. I also been like loving Battle Angel Alita, the OVA. That was so good. It's.
I just know that guy turned into a movie.
Really?
That's all I know.
Actually.
Yeah.
I actually saw the OVA because I heard the movie existed, and I was like, no, I want to see the source material first. And now I actually want to buy the manga gum because it looks like the story was so tragic, but it was good. Yeah. So.
Have you heard that they're making Cowboy Bebop like a live action version?
I actually would enjoy to see that. I think that's okay. That's an anime that I think could easily work out.
I don't like live action like adaptations of most anything animated because I just don't think it has the same charm. But I think Bebop is probably the one they could do the best. And it's like, I mean, it could work, but like.
I think the reason it works well is because it's kind of more in the realm of Hollywood than I would say any other anime, you know? Because it's more jazzy. It has that kind of same, not GoldenEye vibe, but it has the same kind of, you know, detective, you know, crew on a mission, kind of like a Lando situation, you know?
Yeah. It's just like, my fear with adaptations like that is that they'll like, you know, cut episodes or change the story, and it's kind of like,
you're worried that it might become like an Avatar situation. Like character development.
Although they did show the casting, and I thought most of it was pretty good. And they showed Ein. It's gonna be a real life dog, real life corgi. So it was a cute dog. But one thing I don't know if I'm looking forward to or not is another live action adaptation, which is Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh,
that's getting a live action adaptation, and it's being developed by the two showrunners who made the original show. But even then, I don't know if I'm happy with it. I'll show it to you. Avatar: The Last Airbender live action. I don't know when it's coming out, but it did.
I mean, I would have more faith as long as it's not, if it's run by the original showrunners.
It's all I'm seeing here is that it's announced to come out sometime this year, and there's a few like screenshots that are available. Like there's one here with Appa and Aang as the main picture, and Appa is obviously going to be like CGI,
bigger,
because they can't, you know, create a live action version of him. And there's only been a few pictures released. I don't even think they've shown Aang, you know, close up. But it's coming sometime, and I hope it's I hope it's not like the movie.
I have a question: is this gonna be a movie or a series?
Abomination. I believe it's gonna be a series, and I think it'll cover the first book, and then like any more seasons will.
Okay, I can stand with this. If it's gonna be a series, I can work with this. If it was a movie, then I would just said no.
It can't do all.
It's impossible because I want them to do Jet right. I think that's the one that I want them to really not mess up with, because Jet was a good character.
And I really hope that they actually acknowledge that Jet dies.
Yes.
Instead of trying to like dodge around it, because it's
show. Is this gonna be? I would hope this becomes like TV 14. I would hope.
At least, like, you know, more aimed towards a teenage audience. Because another thing I'd like is during Lake Laogai, like actually show more than just like indoctrination. Like you know, have somebody be on like, you know, a rack and be tortured or something like that, just to increase the attention, you know, because they're like a secret, like, you know, Gestapo. Like you gotta go into that, you know.
I think the fact that if it goes live action, because we already have the kids show, why waste the opportunity and just repeat the kids show when you can actually expand on it and make it a bit more adultish or gritty? And the reason I would go for that is just because the fan base has grown up. Like it's not like SpongeBob where, you know, kids are still watching SpongeBob regardless.
Live action SpongeBob.
See Patrick in his live action glory.
He just some dude with big floral shorts.
Dude, Patrick would be like a quadruped, like he's just like on stints. I don't know.
I'm looking up live action Patrick just to be like terrified by what I see. These are all like renditions of like photorealistic versions of the original. Oh, I forgot there was a SpongeBob play that was made.
What?
Here and apparently it was actually pretty good from what I heard. Here's a picture of Sandy at the far left, SpongeBob in the middle, and Patrick on the right.
Okay, I can get behind this.
They look.
I can get behind this one, yeah. As long as they're not trying to make them like. You think I was more worried it would become like a cat situation.
yeah, where they try to make them look like it. Well, these just look like people in like kind of weird outfits. Like Patrick just has giant pink hair and is wearing a floral outfit. SpongeBob has like really short, like brown plaid pants and blonde hair, but it's like, it's good enough. You know?
Sandy has a fro instead of the spacesuit.
Yeah.
Okay.
How did we get to this? You know, it's the Tangent Podcast. This just happens.
Anyway.
So you want to talk about politics
my current politics, my views on this.
How COVID-19 is affecting.
Okay. Let me just say a few things that let's go for the more progressive side of things. So I can get this out the way. I in the past I was more iffy on universal basic income. No, not basic. Universal basic insurance, like, you know, healthcare for all, Medicare for all. Maybe not Medicare for all, but definitely I think there should be a national insurance plan. In the past I was like, but now I'm like, yeah, no, this is stupid. Like, this is ridiculous how it's come to this point. Or at the very least, there needs to be a restructuring because I kind of in the past just never thought about it, but the fundamental problem about this is that the interests of the healthcare industry just cannot align with the interests of the public, because if you put a corporate system for a public service that's just literally your life or death, then it just makes it bad for the consumer overall. So it just profits off of death. So at this point, I'm just kind of like, no. The other thing I will say is, if you already knew, I already liked universal basic income before. This just proves to me that, yeah, this should have been done long ago. But I think that's all my liberal views at the moment. I think those are the only things I would say are the more progressive side. Let me talk about the things that are a bit more moderate or more, I would say, conservative. Do not trust China. I did not trust China in the past. I do not trust them anymore. I would say no. I would say this is even more of a reason, because now everyone's like, we can't get our PPE, we can't get our stuff. It's like, yeah, because I'll admit, fiscally, it would make sense. Like, you're gonna lose to competition to anyone who doesn't put their stuff in China. That's fine. But this is the problem where I see that, ironically, like, you know what your professors on diversity, this is where diversity saves your life. Diverse portfolio and all your assets.
Diversify your portfolios, people.
Diversify your life. It just saves you so much trouble. If you don't put all your eggs into one basket, you're fine. You don't have to worry about what life throws at you. But when people throw diversity out the window for efficiency, stuff like this happens. And that was the biggest thing. I don't trust China for multiple reasons, because I know they bought out the UN at this point. Like, people are kind of like, oh no, I mean, Trump shouldn't pull out money. And I'll admit, pulling out money is kind of like in some way counterproductive, because you're kind of like,
I think it is. Yeah, I mean, like, even if they are influenced by China a lot, I still think that they could help people. And like, maybe pull out after this is all settled, but I think
that's right like the worst thing to do. This is kind of like it's, you know what it is? It's basically like forfeiting. You're not even going to give them, like, I know you're saying like, oh, I'm not even going to be a part of this because they're not helping us, and we have no reason to be here because this agreement doesn't benefit us anymore. And like, yeah, this is when you fight for it. That's where you have to fight for your agreements, and then after that you can say piss off, and that's fine. But again, I in the past I was actually more neutral on the UN. Now I'm not. I'm still neutral on the UN itself. I'm more disappointed in how they just like anytime someone says anything about Taiwan, about how they're doing, like, hey, what do you think about Taiwan's response?
Taiwan's a real country.
And then everyone's like, oh, how do you think about Taiwan's response? And the UN people are just like, please, man, don't make me.
What is Taiwan? Do you mean like China? And it's like, fuck you.
The worst thing is, like, there's people who are just like, please, man, don't let me have to say anything right now. I didn't want to say anything. They're just like, please, just let me go home.
You know, honestly, I think it's like karma. Like, all these companies invest so much in like practically slave labor in China, and they work with a government that, like, you know, genocides,
Muslim,
you know,
Tibetans,
Muslims, you know, all that, and like in you know, Hong Kong and all that, and it's like, oh, you put all of your investments into this one morally corrupt country. Oh, I feel so bad for you.
Oh my goodness. This makes me also like I'm very consistent in this, and it's like this. If I'm pro social good, like, give socialism for the masses, capitalism for the corporations, as in my opinion, it's like, that's how the balance should kind of be in terms of how government does things, because that's where it makes sense, in my opinion. Because now it's just the opposite, where these investors are getting bailed out, where the small businesses are just taking L's left and right. It's sad, because I wanted to go and at least do a takeout from my favorite Japanese restaurant nearby my place, and they're closed, and I probably know the reason why. They're probably not coming back, and that was so sad. I only got there like 1 or 2 times, and I am probably never going to see them again unless this gets together. And I came to say, oh, well, let me just order from Grubhub, because if they're closed from the outside, that means they're just not cooking in the kitchen. You just know. Like, the reason I know Starbucks exists on multiple levels is because their drive-thru still open, and I can still see the workers still in there. So at least that's fine. But that's the point. The corporations are getting their bailouts because they're doing these, like, okay, to understand what the stock buyback, I think, like, most people were confused, and I was confused at the beginning. But the whole idea, I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff, is that actually, yeah, you're the business person, so you tell me.
Yeah. First, I want to make a statement about you saying, like, diversification of like portfolio. Like, I was covering this in my finance class about like a month ago, when we were still in class, and he's like, okay, so if you're, you know, making a portfolio, you have a section of undiversifiable risk. Essentially, like, there's always going to be some risk in investing. You could just lose all your money, but you can't get rid of it. So he's like, that's about 20%. There's like a 20% risk of that. And then he showed a huge chart of this like huge growing thing of like, this is diversifiable risk. If you invest in only one thing, your risk goes up by like 50%. Jeez. And he says, but if you invest in it minimum around 30 different things, your risk goes down to like your diversifiable risk goes down to almost nothing. You're stuck with just the base risk. And it's like, you're seeing this a lot of companies who work in only like India, China, or all these other, you know, developing nations. And you're seeing those places collapse because they don't work in places like the US or EU. And they're falling apart because of it. And it's like, that's your own goddamn fault. But anyhow, stock buybacks, it's essentially like, on the stock market, the stock price is affected by demand. So if a company puts out a stock for like, let's say $100 a share, which is decent enough, then if people start buying a lot of it, the stock price is going to rise because there's more demand for it, so they start charging more. But say a company has 3,000 stocks out. The stock price is going to start lowering because there's so many. It's supply and demand. When a company first starts putting their stock out, it's going to be at a good price because there's not many. And the more stocks you own, the more share of the company you have. But a stock buyback is when a company has extra money on hand, and instead of investing it into the company for better equipment or training or whatever, they'll buy stocks back from their own investors, which is something that most companies have in their contract with stocks. And they'll buy it at a premium. So say like you bought 100 shares of McDonald's for, let's say, like $50 a pop. They'll pay you $75 a pop for all.
Shoot, I had paid only $5,000 for those. I'll definitely sell them that. Like, $2,500 profit. Yeah, that's worth it.
Yeah. So then the stock market will see, oh, someone just bought $7,500 worth of McDonald's stock, and there's less stocks on the market, because when a company buys their own stock back, it's taken off the market. So a stock buyback will not only make it look like, your stock is trading well, but also give you more control over your own company. So it's good for a company to do if they don't want to invest in anything else. But the problem was a lot of companies were just doing it ad nauseum to where they had no cash.
Yeah, it's like, this would be the equivalent of if I spent all my savings on stocks. So that way, like, oh, now my money can grow, but I can't pay for like a random bill that were to come out of nowhere.
So you mean like
Wall Street, basically. That's what I'm trying
to. Where those crazies just spend all their money in stocks.
And then now during this coronavirus crash,
they're just freaking out.
My money's gone, and I have nothing to pay my rent today.
And it's like, haha, that's
but then
your own fault.
In this case, the corporations are like, government, please give me money.
please give me money.
And then we're like, what happened to your money? He's like,
you should cut down on the goddamn avocado toast next time. Come on.
Instead it's like, but no, the difference is now it's like, if you don't give me money, then I'm gonna fire these people. I was like, wait, what?
I'm gonna put them at risk, make them homeless, and get them infected.
Yeah, it's basically it's a hostage situation, which is kind of like
because there's no safety net.
There's no safety net. There's nothing for them. There's nothing for people like us. So when we're in this situation, the government's just kind of like, well, crap, I don't want to bail them out, but at the same time, I don't want them to just effectively shoot their hostages. So, like, in my eyes, the best solution would be nationalize them, in my opinion. Just like, okay, Boeing, you want to bail out? All right. Here's your money, and now I own you. That would...
Or at least be like, I own 50%.
That would have been fine for me.
It's like, I'd be okay with that.
That's a fair deal, but obviously they're like, no.
And we're like, okay, we're going to make sure you can't do this.
That would have been like the effective government thing to do. That would have been like responsible. Oh, I don't have to worry. Like, to be honest, if Trump had done that, I would have been like, shoot, I kind of want to reelect him. Like, I think if he had done that.
Don't say that.
But I would say this. If any president had done that right there, I would have said like that person right there has cojones, because that is ballsy right there. But it would have been the right thing to do, because then everyone would get the signal, oh crap, we can't get away with this anymore.
I would have been like, one of the actually good decisions that's happened in the past 4 years.
Wow. I think everyone... That'd be history books right there.
Dark storm cloud that's been here for 4 years has a silver lining, guys. We found it.
To be honest, man, I think that'll be the history books. Like, the first president to just tell the corporation to shut up. Just... You're mine now. You're fired.
Yeah.
I'm taking over.
Yeah.
But no.
That actually would have been pretty decent.
Shoot.
But, like, personally, my politics have been like, man... There's like no safety nets for anybody in this country. It's like, thinking about all the people I know who are like, I've been kicked out of the dorms, but my family won't take me back. I have no job. Dude. It's like, I haven't heard from that person in a week. What's happening to them?
Oh, I had that. I got to tell this story because what happened recently is that one of the people I knew in FCJ told me that he got kicked out from his mom's place during this. And his mom was just like, it was before the virus, but it was like, you're getting kicked out. So basically, there's nothing for him. And he had a security job. So it's like, yeah, right now I'm living in my car right now. And I can't go anywhere. And at first, like, oh, crap. And it's like, how much money do you have left? It's like, I got like $500 to my name left. Like, crap.
Jesus.
So I was like scouring on Indeed and like, okay, what was your qualifications? And I found this one security job. And it was like, okay, security guy looking for a clearance, he has that, let's send it to him. I did not think that would work. I honestly did not. He got the job like 3 days later. That was one of the happiest things I had done in the past couple weeks. That's why he's doing fine right now. I see in his status on Discord that he's working until 8 a.m. But basically, I mean, he's a night owl, so that's why I was like, okay, that's fine. But still, I'm just kind of like, damn. Like, this is the second time this happened, because I had another roommate whose parents had cancer, and his dad couldn't make payments for his rent anymore. So he was basically squatting for 3 months, and also on my couch when they officially kicked him out. And he was there for a few weeks until eventually a friend took him in, and I managed to help him out with UCF, where they managed to do something where all of his tuition payments were waived, and they said all the money that you would pay for tuition, we're going to use that and give you a little bit of something to find housing. And he got an apartment, and then he can afford the rent. And he has a job, or I believe he has a job, or is looking for a job. I hope he got one by now to handle it. So, but it was for the whole semester. Yeah. That money that he was spending just goes towards rent. And I was like, but think about this. It wasn't because of like the government helping. It was just the kindness of UCF managed to help out, and like me having and luck for my other friend. But everyone else, you're screwed. You hope that you have family.
I mean, there's millions of people like that across the country,
and that's damaging. Like, this is the reason why I like UBI, because if we put this money back into their hands, not only do we improve lives, but just as a bonus for the people who want to be selfish, like, I'm okay if you want to be selfish, but here's a selfish reason to be altruistic. If you give money to people who need it the most to be productive, they make like $1 or like $2 for every dollar that you invest in them. Where if you put it for a rich person, it's like 83 cents return. So if you're going by the return numbers, put money in the hands of Americans that need it. That's just the answer. Help people who need help. Like, if you have $20 to spare, give it to someone who might need it, because that's going to benefit everyone else. Share the wealth, But that's the reason why my politics haven't really changed so much, but if anything, they've been amplified. Yeah, they've been amplified for the most part. In the past, I was like, healthcare for everyone. Now I'm like, yeah, healthcare for everyone. This is stupid. But the thing that I'm actually worried about, everyone, is I'm worried about Google and Apple, and I'm worried about the government doing contact tracing. This is the thing I'm actually worried about. And also, at the very end, I'll talk about what we were talking about yesterday, the rioters and people who are like, protesting.
Yeah. And we'll close
because for me, as a privacy-oriented person, I'm a techie. You already know that. And the thing for me is that I see this as like Patriot Act 2.0, because Russia is expanding their cameras ridiculously, and now they have it where even if you cover your mask in your head, and you say you wear not shades but glasses, they have cameras that can still detect you. And I've found that, really? It's like they can get you with 60% accuracy still. It takes a while, but they can get you.
Wow.
And they even, for Russia, they allow it where some people have been able to buy the access to those CCTV cameras off the dark market. And, you can just track anyone that you want, say like your girlfriend or whatever. But that's Russia, so I'm not even going to talk about them. But I'm just saying this capability exists, people. Come to US, they're talking about asking for Google and Apple to use Bluetooth chips on their phones so that we can track the movements of every American to see what they're doing. And if you have a Google or Apple account, then they know your history, they know your face, they know your biometrics, they know all this stuff. And they're going to check where you're going to see if you interact with someone who have COVID. And that sounds safe and all, but in my eyes, I'm just saying, okay, you just flip the switch. Do you think that any way that government's going to just turn it off after COVID's done? No, not at all. So this just means if they're telling them, please build a Bluetooth capability where we can track everyone's movements and their detailed profile and their health history based off of their phone, they just expanded it more. And I don't even know what they haven't even told us that has already been expanded. That's the thing that keeps me up like crap. And I'm telling everyone, even if I know this is like the most controversial thing I will say, if you have COVID, don't say anything unless you know for a second, like 100% you have it. Don't say anything unless you're like coughing and dying. I know you might be saying, what are you talking about, Yjang? This is the most unhelpful thing to say right now. But I just have a feeling they're going to be holding this against you like a health record. And they're going to just be like, I don't know, like, I feel like they're going to use this against people to discriminate, to see like, oh, you had COVID, so we can't really get you to do this, or you're not allowed to do this. They're like going to hold this record ahead of you. It's like, I'm worried it might be some kind of like HIPAA problem that's going to happen because of this.
I'd rather people be discriminated against than die, though. So if you are feeling sick, please get checked.
Yeah, get checked up by a doctor. Just don't tell people randomly, like, I think I have COVID, or I've been coughing a lot, and I think I have, like...
If you think you have the virus, get checked out, and even if they come back that's, like, inconclusive, quarantine yourself if you can.
Quarantine yourself, but just don't... I wouldn't say share to the world, because I just have a feeling. This is my paranoia, maybe, but I just be careful, people, because the box has been open. So the more they open this box, the wider it gets, the more problems and implications there is. That said, I want to leave the final bit actually off to you about things that have just been opened up with the protests lately in Michigan.
Yeah. First, I want to start about the train store.
Oh yeah.
So I don't remember the exact place. So I'm gonna look it up real quick. Right there. And yes, okay. So this was in LA. A train engineer attempted to crash. Why is this video auto playing? ABC News, I don't want your video to autoplay. Get out. There we go. It paused finally. An engineer attempted to crash a train into the USNS Mercy in Los Angeles. And this guy was, a conductor of a train. And after he was interviewed, he said things like, I don't really know why I did it. He said something just snapped inside of him. Because he said that he knew that the government was hiding things. And that ship was there to kill people, not to save them. And things like that. And that they weren't telling everyone the truth. And it's like, he got 250 yards from that boat. If he had been successful, then a guy who believed in conspiracy theories would have sunk a boat full of people. And medical supplies, killing hundreds of more who would have used them.
Wait, how did they stop him?
His train just didn't fly far enough.
That's the thing that kept...
he didn't go fast enough.
Oh, it didn't even stop him. It was just luck that nothing happened. It was luck that it wasn't like a huge tragedy. That was the thing.
In an interview with an FBI agent, I'm not going to say the guy's name because I don't want to give him any recognition for what he did, stated that he did it out of the desire to, quote, wake people up.
Wake up sheeple thing? Oh my goodness.
Essentially, yes.
What the hell?
He
was going to be but
smashing a train into a medical boat to own the limbs. This is like a
domestic terrorist, basically, man. Like,
and nobody's even talking about it anymore. It's just, it's another thing just swept under the rug.
This would have been a big story if it actually went through.
If it was under anyone else.
No, if it was not even that. If this actually went through, shoot, people would have actually. If the guy actually made it, I wonder how long that would have made it in the news cycle. I wonder how long people would have thought about it. My goodness, that's terrible.
While admitting to intentionally derailing and crashing the train, he said he knew it would bring media attention and, quote, people would see for themselves, referring to the boat, the Mercy.
Jeez. It's ridiculous.
So, along with that, there have been protests in many places around the United States, spurred on by... I've been looking into it more, and apparently they're getting funding from a few billionaires, from what I can see. But I have to find an official source for that.
Funding?
Huh? Sorry, my brother just put this thing. And the first site I went to had a paywall. Fuck paywalls. Okay. So I'll send you this article here. It's from Vox, the best source, but it's the second one I saw. So from what I've been able to gather, these protests are people, protesting the quarantine orders in many states around the U.S. Even protesting in D.C., I believe. And they're protesting, saying the quarantine has gone on too long, and that they want to reopen. Some people are doing it for things like I've seen signs of people online of people holding like COVID-19 is a lie, or like I want a haircut or stuff like that. Stupid stuff like that. But other, more ones that I can understand.
That's the most dumb thing.
My job isn't essential, but like my life is, or something like that. It's like, they need their job to live, which is understandable. But I don't know if it talked about this in this article I sent you, but I believe a lot of the funding has come from people like, business owners who want their business to reopen, which seems a bit not small business from what I can see. It's mostly larger scale.
Okay, small business.
Millionaires and such who are funding this group to try to get pressure on governors to reopen so their businesses can start again,
What about that commissioner who actually joined the protests, I believe? Yeah, I'm not too sure. Oh, it was Denver. I think it was the Denver.
Or like we're just reading news articles, so probably not correct about everything.
I believe.
But I want to talk about the tweets Trump sent out the other day. And I'm just gonna open them actually. I'm just going to go from.
Are you just gonna read the tweets out?
Why is
it's good. Just go verbatim.
Twitter page right now. Some guy in an eye patch. Okay. I don't know the videos. Yeah. Dan. Crenshaw.
Oh, it's not Dan Crenshaw.
Is he missing an eye? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's a war vet. I think he's a governor, I believe. Yeah, I met him. I saw him on the 17th. Joe Rogan show.
God damn, he tweets a lot. And he retweets a ton of stuff too. Congratulating an academy? What's happening?
Yeah,
that's the 13th. I wish Twitter was in chronological order. Okay, I'll just Google it then.
Man. I wish it was just like we know what he did at X time per day. So
because Twitter sucks.
Yeah, he's so sad. You have to Google to find his tweets. Instead of using his own account.
Here they are. Okay. He sent out these 3 tweets on the 17th. He sent out, quote, "Liberate Virginia and save your Second Amendment. It is under siege. Liberate Michigan and liberate Minnesota." All of those states are run by Democratic mayors. And what really baffles me about this is the Trump administration will come out and say, yeah, please keep social distancing, quarantine yourself. And then he'll come out and say, liberate your state, save your Second Amendment rights. Yeah. And it's like, what? What are you talking about?
It's like, do you want me to stay inside or do you want me to liberate? Like, liberate, but stay inside. But liberate. Follow social distancing. A lot of the, I've seen pictures and such. A lot of the people probably are peaceful protesters. But a lot of them are showing up with, guns and such, because he's talking about protecting the Second Amendment rights. Yeah. And a lot of people will take that as, oh, the government's going to take my guns during quarantine. Mm-hmm. And it's like, yeah, but I think it, hopefully... Which I find that to be the weirdest thing to do.
Get anyone hurt. But even then, all these people showing up to protests, they're so close to each other that they're gonna get sick. Which, even if his plan is to try to pressure governors into reopening, this is his base. He's gonna end up killing a good chunk of them because of this. It's like, yeah, you want to win the election, right? What are you doing?
That's the thing. It's like, if you wanted your people to vote you in, then why would you want to send them out there to die? If you don't even have a vaccine. So it's just, and none of them are wearing masks. None of them are, social distancing at all. They're not staying 6 feet apart. They're trying to get close as possible to show that they don't care. So one of them's going to have it, and then they're all going to spread, and then they're going to go home to their families who didn't want this. And the funny thing is that half these people are or middle age or older, or in the really risky zone.
I'm
of people who can get killed.
Images right now of some.
I don't know.
Protests, and I'm just gonna read to you some of the protest signs I'm seeing here. Stop the fear, end the lockdown, live free or die, which I guess you could do both if you don't do quarantine. Trump, lock up the Nazi woman from Michigan. I guess they're talking about their governor who started the quarantine. Because, Nazis famous for quarantines, I guess.
Yeah.
And this one is held by a child. He looks about 8, 9. And thankfully, he's got a mask on, thankfully. Even Pharaoh freed slaves during a plague.
Yeah.
I don't remember that happening. Like, he freed them after the death of the firstborn.
That didn't happen.
But the 10 plagues of Egypt were done by then.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Like, he freed them after the plague.
Yeah, you let everybody out. Yeah, and also
after COVID. Yeah, you should free everyone.
Retribution on the entire world, which is another thing. Like, really for a lot of things. Like, humanity kind of deserves it. I mean, according to biblical tradition, it's been like 3,000, 4,000 years since the last one. We've done a lot of shit in that time.
Yeah, that's a good amount. Like, there's a lot of things that are on. We have World War II. We have 2 Holocausts. We have also the nuclear Holocaust. We forgot about that.
I mean, and there's hundreds of more genocides have gone over the years.
Yeah. We have. Alex Jones was actually in a tank.
What the fuck? What?
What? In that same Vox article, he was in a tank. I think it is, or some kind of like, because I see a hatch, and he's screaming
this
in
is like
Texas.
An ATV.
It's an ATV.
Yeah, it's like for the viewers at home, like it's imagine like a 4-door pickup truck, but somebody like reinforced it with like steel all over, and Alex Jones is coming out the like sunroof at the top with like a bunch of megaphones and everything, just screaming at people. And from the pictures I'm finding online, I'm gonna send one to you. People are just walking up to the truck and just like flipping him off, and he's just screaming at them, which is funny because I don't even take him seriously. He's just like a giant meme to me. One of my favorite ones is for the viewers at home. It is a video of Alex Jones. I assume he's going to fight someone. But someone edited it to be Alex Jones in a Minecraft village, and he's yelling at a creeper, calling him a coward, and then he runs at him and blows up and dies as a Minecraft music plays, and it's so good because he's just complete. But honestly, his misinformation does end up hurting people because like.
I mean, look at all those people close to him.
Yeah, I mean, all those people in that pseudo tank with him, or like all the people who believe in his testosterone pills, taking that instead of wearing masks. It's gonna end up hurting people or even killing them.
I'm actually kind of worried for these people. I'm more. At the beginning, I was kind of like, I didn't, serves them right. But now, the more I'm thinking about it, it's like, this isn't right. This is kind of like. In the beginning, you kind of feel like, everyone gets their just desserts, but at this point, I'm like, crap, these people are gonna get killed. These people are gonna die. Yeah. Like, the thing is, this virus goes after people who are obese, or like have some health complications,
or older,
heart problems,
smokers too.
Yeah, if you're old, smokers. This seems like quite a big amount of people in the Trump base right now. Quite a large amount of
the United States as well.
Like the South should be screwed over.
Oh yeah,
which I'm surprised it hasn't. That's the thing I'm actually kind of surprised, like New York.
Well, I think like a lot of the southern states, because they're a lot poorer, really, is the lack of testing. Like, I think we honestly have a lot of people who are infected here. It's just that we aren't testing them.
Okay, that would make more sense because, honestly, I would think like out of all the states that should get screwed over, whether it's climate change, pandemics, automation, all the bad things that are happening, should all be in the South, and yet I barely hear anything. And governors do the exact opposite of what they should do for their constituents. So I would think that there should be more deaths here, but I think the reason is because kind of like China, they just want to underreport so that way their numbers don't look inflated.
Yeah, I saw something the other day, because I'm subscribed to r/Florida, because I live here. Here it is. It's from the Miami Herald. Here, I'll send it to you. The headline reads: Florida blocks COVID-19 information from public access as Governor Ron DeSantis touts transparency. And
how's that legal?
Yeah, and I'm thinking, how is it legal with our sunshine laws? Because we're supposed to be the most transparent state in the union. I mean, that's why Florida Man even exists.
Yeah, like
here,
that's against like the FOIA.
I'll read a bit to you. When the Miami Herald sought information from the Miami-Dade Medical Examiner's Office last month about COVID-19 deaths in the epicenter of Florida's coronavirus outbreak, attorneys for the state health department moved to block the records from becoming public. Emails and phone conference appointments obtained through a public records request show that while medical examiners across Florida had already released details about deaths in their counties, attorneys for the state spent more than a week trying to convince their counterparts in Miami-Dade County not to provide that information to the Herald. This is a quote from an attorney, the ones you're talking about. As we discussed, is the Department of Health's position that the information requested in the request below should not be released as it is confidential and exempt from public record discourse.
What? That's not...
So, look, that might be another reason we're not seeing more cases, because they're not releasing information about it. Just like China.
When they hide information, it means it's bad.
Oh, yeah.
It's really bad here. Like, that's why I'm thinking it has to be bad, because... Oh, boy. No.
I mean, Jack's reopened their beaches.
The thing is that I heard just like later this evening, I heard that through a fight for information on getting information on elderly homes, 21 out of like 29 cases of COVID in nursery homes were in Duval alone.
Jesus, that's terrible. I mean, I worry for my own grandparents. Thankfully, they don't leave homes, but still.
I worry for my aunt because she is super immunocompromised. Ridiculously, like even before this, there was times where she was like checking in and out of death's door, and now I'm kind of like, crap.
I mean, so I have 3 grandmas because my grandfather got divorced to one of them and remarried. But my grandma on my mom's side has really bad asthma, and she's like, getting close to 70. So if she gets infected, she's done. Like, it's bad asthma. And like another one of my grandmas, it's the one that my grandfather remarried. She's on her 3rd heart transplant.
Third?
Because her original heart gave out. Then she got another one, and that one gave out. So she's on her 3rd. If she gets infected, I don't think her body can take it. And it's like, I don't want to see my grandparents die because the governor wants to reopen, or the city wants to reopen for some money. Like, I get people need to live. I get people need money and all that. But there has to be another way than just to let people die.
I mean, you can do what Taiwan does, or like what Korea does, and just kind of like, there's a couple of ways you can do it. Just tell people, like, if you go to work, but if you don't have to work outside, then stay inside. If you can, work at home. Like, I think the problem is that I know they had to force people to work at home, because otherwise people wouldn't do it. Like, I know America would never do anything unless it was forced to do anything, which is pathetic. But
I mean, we didn't join either World War until they were almost over, when we were essentially forced to.
Yeah, so that's why I'm kind of a bit like, I understand why this has to happen. I understand why people are angry, but at the same time, it's just kind of more of like people, and I'm going to be honest, it's like people are so selfish that they can't, they know what's the issue, but it's like, I don't care. And for the people that are screwed over because of this whole thing with their jobs, I don't blame them. I blame their companies for being so selfish with, not the small businesses, but I'm angry at the large corporations being so selfish with their money for just doing these stock buybacks and not reinvesting or putting money aside for situations like this. And The only people I would say who are I would say completely at fault, not at fault at all, are the small business owners and the employees.
Yeah.
That are just doing as they're told, and they're just getting screwed over left and right.
Yeah, like.
And honestly, the only people that get out of this that are doing well are either people who are privileged or fortunate enough, like myself, who can work from home and still get their paycheck, or people who are just being unethical. That's basically the only two people left who still have a job. You got deplorable people on one side and then privileged people on the other side.
And then everybody else in the valley between. Nothing. This is America, guys.
Don't
living that dream.
Wage cucking it.
And I'm gonna talk a little bit about a bit more personal stuff because it's about my mom. I'm not gonna say where she works because I'm sure she wouldn't want me to. It's private and all that. But she works in the hospitality industry.
Right.
And most of that industry has been shut down. But her place is under orders of the mayor, only just to serve essential workers. Traveling nurses or people trying to help out during the virus and all that. And so she has to work she leaves home at 2:00, but her work starts at 3. She works from then until about 11:30 at night. 5 but probably 6 days a week, with 1 day off. And she works for her pay, which already was below average for her job. Because she actually works 2 jobs, but for the pay of 1, which sucks already.
Yeah.
Her pay got cut by 30%, which means $15,000 loss over a yearly salary. And she has to work more now too. Her hours got more hours, and she's not hourly based, it's salary. It's not like that's earning her anything more. And it really sucks because she's considered essential, so she
right.
can't leave, and she's working for less at a much higher risk because she sees people every day. She interacts with them because she has to, and she has a risk of bringing that home to our family for less money. She's not even getting hazard pay, and it really pisses me off and goes fuck that company. It's also another thing.
Yeah.
During that night shift, when she's there from 3 to 11, she is the only employee in the whole building. She has to run it all herself.
What?
Yep. No security, no nothing.
She gets less pay out of all this.
Yep. She now works for 70% of her original salary.
What's this thing?
She doesn't have gloves, no masks, no nothing. Because that would scare away customers, apparently. Even though they're only supposed to be getting essential workers, her boss tells her to let anyone in who wants to come in because they have to make money.
But it's just so... I feel for you, man, because it's just they use us as tool. Wherever you're making $500K or you're making $5,000, we're all working class, and we are getting continuously screwed over
for the benefit of some millionaire.
And the thing is, we know that we provide value to this world that's beyond immeasurable. And then we get always short and sick because they short sell us, and they tell us to go die because you're replaceable, we can find someone else. Or even when they said you're essential, you're not essential enough for us to take care of you.
Yeah.
It's it's the kind of stuff where it's it's sending mixed signals. I think the problem for me is that it's if you do care about people, or if you want social cohesion, or if you want people to stay and actually do the job right, then show that you care about their work. And if you don't, then do exactly what this happens, but don't be surprised if people are screw this. But the thing is, most people can't afford to say screw this.
Yeah,
so there's
literally, she's I could make more on unemployment, but I won't get that if I quit my job. And even if I quit my job, then we won't have enough money to pay bills. I can't leave. And I asked her a question so you're essentially a slave right now. She's yes, I am. I cannot leave. I'm working for higher risk at lower pay, at an extreme risk of getting sick and dying, and I can't do anything about it. And it's just like, I don't know what to do with this anger. Because I feel like I can't do anything either.
Start a revolution. No,
I don't want to kill people.
No. This is the thing we should do is just vote these people out. Please, I don't know.
Please believe in democracy.
Vote these. If we all just came together and just said, like, vote these people out. We're tired of this too long. If we all just said, like, you know what, screw it. If I'm unemployed, I might as well just go out and vote.
So I can tell these people to come in. Something has to be better than this.
There's things that are easily better than this. Look, honestly, but here's the thing, in my opinion, all right? And if you can, this is my total game plan. My goal is to basically, if things don't get even worse in general for America, by the time I'm like 25, or like, you know, by like the next, not even this election, but by the next election, if things get worse by 25, I'm just bugging out. I'll just make my plans to bug out right now, because you know what this is like? It's kind of like you try to give someone a second chance that you think that maybe if you just tell them like how you feel, you've been telling them all the time, but they don't listen to you, and they keep treating you like, oh, but you need me. I'm the best in the world. I treat you, but reality is like, you know, there's other people do.
Just, you know, like just a harsh reality check. Like, okay, I'm done. Bye.
Just buy, or just like, if you can't, just go buy. Just like, no, I'm not following you anymore. I'm not calling you. I'm doing your shots anymore. I'm done. Just go your. If you have that ability, or if you can, I would say like that. That's what I would do, or at least that's what I would try to do. Is like, I'm done. If nothing gets better by the end of this decade, I'm moving somewhere else. That's my goal.
I hope the rest of the world is better though. From what it's looking like, we're not doing too much better.
Or if anything, I'm just gonna go by a system of harm reduction instead of like what's ideal.
Go become like
because well, I thought about it. Like, basically, at this point, my philosophy in the past used to be like, you know, we should try to help each other and do the things to like make the world a better place. But at this point, I'm the cynical one out of all of us. But for me, I'm just like, okay, let's assume that the world's gonna get worse. Then what should I do for my prosperity, so I can live a fruitful life throughout this terrible situation? Well, while Rome's burning down, maybe I should make some place in the Gauls my residence and just bug out before the collapse.
Well,
like, I don't know what.
You know, I hope the world gets better. I really do, and I want to believe in people. But we should make preparations in case that doesn't come true. You know,
I would say,
I want to be a pure
give yourself a timeline,
but like, I can't.
Well, I think it's, you know, the reason I think the timeline helps, because if you just give yourself like this is how much time I'm giving to this, instead of like, it's like the whole thing where I'm going to build this project one day, but one day becomes 5 days, and then 5 days becomes like 5 months, and then years.
What we were talking about with the D&D writing, it's like an easier way to write a story is to give yourself a feasible deadline. Same
thing. So let's just assume that we're writing the story of our lives, you know, like that.
Ooh, nice.
Be very Pinterest story of our lives. Well, in that case, I would give myself like, okay, I'm giving myself 5 chapters. If this story doesn't get any better, I'm switching things up.
Get a different writer, change setting. Let's go.
Yeah. If 5 chapters this book just seems terrible, I'm done. But and I like it because then it just says, okay, that means in this 5 chapters you have to try your hardest, or at least you got to give an effort. Because if you don't, then you can only guilt yourself, and you're gonna be like, crap, I guess I need to do another 5 chapters because you didn't give what you felt was like an honest work.
Someone will start like reading the book, and they'll be like, it's like in chapter 5, this is supposed to be a non-fiction book. You're telling me somebody who said wake up sheeple attempted to ram a goddamn train into a boat. Did this book not have an editor? 2 stars.
It's like, well,
that actually happened. Like, yeah that happened.
yeah. Sorry, it's just like, no, man, this is stupid.
That can't be real.
Like, dude, this is like a biography. It's like, in my life, I remember when I was watching in the news, and if like this guy's off his meds,
or
they go on Wikipedia.
Or like, so you're telling me that this guy was an active shooter at a pizza restaurant because he was on a web forum that told him pedophiles were there, and he came in and shot people for that.
That sounds like a copy pasta. The more you say it, the more you say it, the more it sounds fake.
It sounds insane.
This sounds like an Adult Swim skit.
Or it's like, so you're telling me that this real estate mogul who got all of his money from his dad and went bankrupt like 6 times, who then started a TV program and switched party affiliation every 4 years, became United States president after calling Mexicans rapists, and a tape released where he said he can grab women by the pussy, and you had an evangelical vote for him.
Dude, that sounds like a video game plot. Dude, stop talking. The more you say, the more it sounds.
We are in the Berenstein Bears universe, okay? We need to get back to the Berenstein Bears universe. Someone get me out of this world line.
This is like a speaking of world line, have you seen what's Steins Gate?
No, I still haven't. Because I still intend to play the game eventually, but like I keep getting distracted by other games that come out. Like
same.
Like I've got Persona 5 Royal. I picked up Final Fantasy 7 remake, and my brother already played through it completely. But it looks good. I've never played 7, but it looks good. I've played a little bit of it. And like a ton of other stuff.
I have always heard about it. I always heard about 7, and everyone says it's like one of the best. Or it's at least most popular.
From what he said, it's pretty good. But his favorite Final Fantasy is still 15. So.
Which one?
Final Fantasy 15. It's the one that came out a few years back.
That's a boy. Yeah, it's the boys trip one.
Yeah. It's the like road trip one with the 4 guys. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's like the Cindy, the mechanic. That was the only thing I remember. Cindy, and then the boys that have a road trip.
Yeah, and
that's the only thing I know about.
And then like 2 hours in, it's like, yeah, your father's dead, and then the road trip's over essentially. It's like, okay, yeah, now you have to become king and save your kingdom, and then tragic.
Okay,
stuff
now you're
happens.
Final Fantasy.
Yeah, all that sort of stuff. You get god powers, Final Fantasy shit.
Honestly, I would be fine if that was more like throughout the thing. It's like, hey man, your father's dead. Oh, and it's like, hey man, let's just go on a road trip. And as he's like, ignoring his problems for a little bit, the kingdom just gets worse and worse.
Can we?
That would have been like a bit more.
Can we have like an anime protagonist like just solve all the world's problems with like the power of friendship, please? Just like, can we have like some like isekai protagonist come into this world and beat up like COVID-19 for us with the power of his like generically written like harem, please? I'd
we
really
need
like
first
that.
find Truck-kun. We need to find Truck-kun.
Someone needs to
find the
sacrifice
right one.
himself.
Well, it has to be the right one.
Yeah,
because it's the wrong truck.
Listen, you need either a really like sad backstory or no backstory at all. Like it has to be no in between. Yeah. If you have life events, you are not allowed in. You must be as blank slate as possible.
You basically have to be born yesterday as a NEET.
Yeah, essentially, be like a full-grown like 16 to 17-year-old shut-in.
20 if you're pushing it, or like if you want to be like the older NEET that just gave up completely.
Yeah. Be born about a week ago and maybe have had someone call you ugly once. That's about it. And then, but then somehow everyone loves you. That's just how it works.
Or you can be like Kazuma and just be like, no, I'm a NEET. But
yeah, but he hasn't done shit. He hasn't beaten the demon lord yet.
I know.
Take too
long.
I don't want filler episodes in the isekai anime that's supposed to save the world.
I understand that. He doesn't deserve a backstory. He's perfect as it is. It's just being a blank slate. But he's a better blank slate because he actually has one character flaw that's actually funny.
Holy shit, guys! Character flaws? Okay, I have to say something real quick. This is a real tweet. I have to find it real quick. Too much personality. Is this? I have to find it. Okay, I can't find it right now, but I'll send it to you later. I saw on Twitter that the director of the Persona series came out and said that the protagonist of the fourth game, Persona 4, who actually had a lot of personality, he was this like laid back, like ultra Chad, who was like really confident and just like attracted any more than a 20-mile radius to him. He said he was upset how much personality they gave him. And
wow.
And the quote retweet of that, it was like, you know it's 2020, like, JRPG, when directors are complaining their protagonists have too much personality.
He's like, yeah, he's a perfect Chad. Like, he smashes bullets, does everything perfect. Everyone loves him.
And the director's like, God damn, he's not blank enough.
Dang. Honestly, that's funny. It's like, I don't get it. This guy's not blank enough. Why is he the main character?
Mm-hmm.
So we can empower the player and show them out. No. Self-insert. Look at Goblin Slayer. Wait, I don't think that's a good example. Look at Goblin Slayer. Okay, what do you see? That's right, nothing. You only see the suit. Anyone can be in the suit. That's why we made him.
Don't have him ever take off his helmet. We need the viewers to believe it's them under there, even if they're 500 pounds.
I can be Goblin Slayer too. I can be Goblin Slayer too. Bro, you're both too skinny to be Goblin Slayer.
Guys, wear the mask. Hashtag wear the mask, guys.
Wear the mask. No, the mask is also another thing too. Is like anyone can wear the mask. Like everyone has their can unleash their persona.
You know, that's one thing I actually don't get about it. Like having played Persona 5, the mask isn't a good thing. Like everyone when they get their personas rips it off, showing that they're not going to pretend to be someone else anymore. And it's just like, wear the mask. It's like, pretend to be someone you aren't, conform to society. And it's like, what
yes.
the fuck? I know it's like marketing, but like that goes against the whole message.
That goes against all the story of the game. Yeah. That goes against everything they stand for.
It's like, what the...
But no, but maybe it's a double meaning. Like, the corporate's telling you to wear the mask, but then you find out when you wore the mask that you never needed it at all in the first place.
Bruh, deepest lore!
That's a big brain. Yeah. Think about it. That was the whole purpose of the game. The whole purpose of the marketing was to suck you in, to rip you right out.
Yeah. Okay, quick tangent. Me and my brother have been resurrecting year-old memes, and we've somehow made them funny to us. Like, Dab, Daniel! And the Dab, named Jeff, and had to do it to him. But we've been resurrecting so many that like I've been using them unironically. It's like yes. He'll come to me and be like, "Oh, hey, I finished all my work for the week," and I'm like, "Damn, Daniel, good job." And he'll just look at me like, "What the hell?" And I'll be like, "Oh fuck, I used that unironically. It's now a part of my speech. What's happening to me?"
You're becoming a meme boomer now at this point. It's funny. Like, it's like how I feel about the Virgin versus Chad memes now. Like, in the past they were like funny, then they weren't, and now they're kind of resurging. Everything has a cycle, you know. Like
one thing that's really fun to me is like, you know, all these like Wojak memes that are popping up. They're just rage comics too.
Oh yeah, they are definitely.
And it's like
the Doomer, the Zoomer. It's like, yeah, it's just wage. Everyone needed. People still need it. They just need a different form, you know.
But it's like,
everyone wants.
How are those funny to you anymore? Like, it's it makes me feel old.
Well, the thing is, I still enjoy it because it's the same kind of humor. So it's like, like crack open my Monster Energy.
Boom.
Yeah. Those are the days, man. Those are the days. Remember Megusta? Man, those are the days.
What was that called? I remember there was a video I watched when I was like,
I feel like
I found it. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's called the Gag Quartet Les Internet Medley.
Thank you.
What's up? What's up?
Oh no, I was talking to my mom.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
This video came out in 2011. I remember watching this, For those at home, it's called the Gag Quartet Le Internet Medley, and it's LE. Over 40 memes in one song, all caps. And it's a compilation of early internet memes, and it makes me feel nostalgic and old at the same time. Because, like...
You see Yjang Cat at the background there. Just like Ari knew. Like, crack open that monster energy.
Like, watching this, it's memes I don't even remember, and you see the old YouTube page as well. And it's
really?
What the hell is this meme with the girl with, like, leaks spinning? I don't remember that. I don't know what's happening. But, like...
Okay.
It's... Like... It makes me feel old because, like, kids born in, like, 2010, they're 10 years old right now, and they would have never seen this.
You know, we're technically Zoomers, right?
We're, like, on the borderline between Zoomers and Millennials. It depends on who makes the cutoff.
Like, you know how Millennials are, like... Some Millennials are 40 right now, if I remember correctly.
But some Zoomers are literally newborns.
Right. So we're going to be basically that same cusp of millennials and
we're going to be the like
you know
ancient Zoomers. Like, I remember back in the year 2005. They're like, I wasn't born until 2012. You boomer. I'm like, how dare you?
I'm still a Zoomer.
I'm still one of the kids. You know.
Yeah, it's like I think only. This decade is going to be the new gen after us.
Yeah.
Because it's like 95 to 2010, we're all Zoomers somehow. But
I think the cutoff is more around 2000. Like, 99 kids are like us are like the like gap year.
Yeah.
And then I think
so it's...
Well, I don't know how it really. I don't know how it's defined.
Because I always thought it was like a mesh where it's like 80 to 95, you're a millennial, but if you're 95 to 2010, you're a Zoomer. And then 2000, I just go by like increments of 15 because it just makes more sense.
I found that tweet I was talking about.
I don't know.
But I think the cutoff is like 2000 to probably like 2015. Around there, or maybe like 98 to like 2013, because it's like 15 to 20 year periods. So kids who are born like this month would be a new whatever comes after Z, which I guess would be Alpha or something like that. Imagine being a part of Generation Alpha.
No, after that is like, welcome gamers, we are Generation Gamma.
Yeah.
Epsilon Zeta. Dude, instead of doing like the whole boomers, instead it's just gonna be it's just gonna be going through the Greek alphabet.
Goddamn Generation Alpha thinking to the top of the world. Don't they know Generation Lambda's where it's at?
Generation like, oh my goodness.
My kids are gonna be like Generation Beta. I'm gonna birth betas. No. Imagine being born into the world as a beta.
Dude.
It's like, why couldn't you have had me 5 years earlier so I could be an alpha?
You know what it's like? It's like strong times create strong men, and the strong times...
Yeah.
It's like desperate times create strong men, and then good times create weak men. Weak men create desperate times, and then the cycle repeats.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the situation we're in. Like between Nancy Pelosi and then the Republicans now, it's like weak men creating difficult times because they grew up in the good times.
Yeah, unfortunately, we have to live through that.
But look on the bright side. We'll become the strong men.
I hope so.
I think that's how the cycle goes. At least that's how I try to justify the world's nonsense. It's like things are just a cycle. So we're in our certain leg of the wheel, and we just have to adapt according to our season.
Well, I hope
we can't escape nature.
Everyone makes it through that, and I think this is a good point to call it because I originally wanted to record for an hour, and we're about to hit 2 hours.
Oh yeah, we're about to hit 2.
So and we could have gone longer, honestly. But I guess we should just record again sometime soon. Whenever you're not, killing yourself at work, and whenever I'm not writing 40-page essays, whenever that occurs.
Well, it's gonna happen for me soon because this is my last week, my finals week. So this is gonna be like.
When do your summer classes start?
Yeah. Like I would say the second week of May.
Okay.
That's when it starts.
Yeah. I finish near the end of this month, so we could. I'm probably good to record somewhere near the end. Probably. So we can do then or start it next week, whatever. Yeah, this was fun. Thanks everybody for coming to the Tangent Podcast. I know I got a few messages about where the podcast is. So sorry for holding you up. Like I said, we've been busy. We should get out more. Every time I say that, I feel like it takes 2 months between episodes. So it'll be out eventually.
At least I now have a break, so I can actually like come and do something.
Yeah.
That was. Oh boy, I'm gonna try to hold off from adding more to my plate.
Please do.
I'm gonna do it for the sake of everyone and myself.
Mostly for yourself.
Yeah. For myself.
But yeah, thanks for coming to the Tangent Podcast. Hope you enjoyed this 2-hour-long extravaganza of the virus, political opinions, and talks about how our kids are gonna be betas. So yeah, thanks for showing up. Betas. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time. Bye. And be safe.
Bye. Be safe. Do all the things. Wear your seatbelt.
Yeah, and don't ram trains into boats. That's kind of a stupid idea. Okay, that's it. Bye.